Okay, so we are going to play a battle of Let's Kill Each Other. We're going to do a 4x4 table. No scenery rules, just pretty scenery. And it's Start Collecting Box versus Start Collecting Box. Ironjawz versus Khorne Bloodbound.
Since these guys have a more powerful Start Collecting Box, we've just taken the equivalent in points for Bloodbound and put together a somewhat synergistic army to play against the Ironjawz.
So the Ironjawz have a War Chanter, they have 3 Gore Gruntas with Pig Iron Choppas, and they have 10 Ardboys with half of them will have dual choppas, half of them will have shields. They're also equipped with the drummer and the standard bearer.
Right. And for Khorne Bloodbound, we have the Blood Reavers. There are 20 of these. They're 120 points for the 20. They're equipped with Meat Ripper axes, so they can reroll 1s. And then we've got the Blood Warriors, which are equipped with dual axes, have 1 Blood Glaive and a banner. They can reroll hit rolls of 1 and have no respite, which means they attack back when they die. And then they've got the Bloodsecrator, who is effectively a buffing unit for the entire army. He's going to be their general. Alright, we're going to roll to see who goes first. Alright, so I have a 5. I will be going first. Brian has a 1. Alright, so I'm going to deploy first. We're only going to be playing on a 4x4 foot square, so I'll be deploying the unit of Blood Warriors or Blood Reavers right here in the center on my side of the table. So I've set up my unit of Blood Reavers here in just about the center of our 4x4 foot battlefield. Ryan is going to set up his first unit in the center as well.
The Ardboys are your tanks. They are your tar pit. They are your main force. So that's essentially where your anvil that you want to use. Okay.
Alright, I'm going to set up my Blood Warriors next. These guys are an elite infantry unit, and they're really good at taking hits and dealing damage back. They almost always get value. Brian is not going to want to run into these.
And I'm going to set up my Gore Gruntas over on this side of the table as a flanking unit. Gore Gruntas look impressive. They look good on paper, but you have to remember that they are cavalry. They are only good at flanking. They are not a tar pit. They are not shock troops. So don't try to use them like that.
The Bloodsecrator is going to be my general. I'm going to take the Crown of Conquest, which allows him to use Inspiring Presence twice, and I'll be taking the Lord of War, which will allow him to give a unit within 3 inches +1 to all hit rolls. I'll place him here.
So my last deployment will be my general, the Auric War Chanter model. He will be taking Ravager trait, which gives an extra 2 inches to the destruction movement in the hero phase, as well as Battle Brew, which gives him +1 to hit and wound in combat. And I suppose I will just place him right in the middle there.
Alright, it's because I finished placement of my units first, I get to decide whether I go first or second. I'm going to decide to go first. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is my hero phase. I'm going to give both of these units Inspiring Presence using his command ability and his Crown of Conquest. In addition to that, I'm going to give this unit +1 to hit until my next hero phase using my Lord of War. After that, I'm going to just start my movement. These guys can move 6 inches, but since they're not going to get to attack this turn, I'm going to make a run roll. And it's a poor roll. It's a 7. It's a 1. I've moved the Blood Warriors. I made a run roll and got a 6, so I was able to move them from about right here, 11 inches to the left. Then I also moved my Blood Secretor. I rolled a 3, so I ran him about this distance, a little up and to the right, just to keep him protected because he's kind of the meat of the army. And now I think it's going to be Brian's turn. Right.
Okay, so he's moved his army. He's almost swapped positions and is trying to outflank me to this way because he doesn't want to face my boars. That presents me with an issue. It's now essentially ring around the rosy. I do not want to hit his Blood Warriors with my boars because they'll just get demolished. I'm not going to get a return on investment there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to meet his Reavers head on here. Hopefully I'll get the charge, not him, and use my boars as follow-up. So hero phase, I'm going to give +1 hit to the Ardboys from the War Chanter. And let's start with the Rampaging Destroyers. So that gives me an extra d6 movement in the hero phase, +2 from his command trait of Ravagers. So for the Ardboys, they're going to go an extra 8 inches. The War Chanter himself will also go an extra 8 inches, and the Gore Gruntas will move 3 extra inches in the hero phase. So let me get that done and we'll be right back. Okay, so with the Ardboys, and this is the hero phase still, remember, Rampaging Destroyers. So we shifted this way a little bit with their spectacular moves, and then the Gore Gruntas essentially just changed position. So now we're going to go into movement phase. This is going to be a make or break because the Ardboys only move 4 inches, and I need that 4 inches to put me into a good charge range of the Blood Reapers. So we're going to move these guys this way, and the boars are just going to essentially move over here. Okay, so the Ardboys moved up as much as they could, which is admittedly not much. I ran the War Chanter here because the War Chanter is not somebody you want in combat, so he's not going to be charging. And the boars I also ran, but they rolled a 1, continuing in their lethargic moves this game, and I just moved them over this way to get ready to flank in another couple turns. And now we go to shooting phase, but Ironjawz don't have any shooting, so it's the charging phase. So let's see if the Ardboys need a 7. And they get it with an 8. Ooh. So we can charge with the Ardboys.
They're going to trouble.
So we got an 8 charge, and the Ardboys drummer gives them a +2, so they made it with room to spare. So I've kind of wrapped around. The key on a charge is to stay out in that ½ inch range so that when you pile in, you can move around a little bit. So this is my charge phase. Nobody else can charge, so we'll move into the combat phase in which we pile in. Pile in, your idea is to get as many models as close as possible by moving 3 inches. You have to end each move so that the model is closer than before, but it still behooves you to keep a little bit away if you need to reposition a little later. So we can squeeze this guy in there, and we'll wrap this guy in there. Move in here. Now, Age of Sigmar is meant to be played model to model. A lot of people like to do base to base. It just makes things a little easier. So we will do base to base this game. So that means that these two with a 1-inch range weapon most likely won't be in combat.
No, they need a 5mm gap, I think.
So 8 of the 10 boys will be able to hit the Reavers this turn and knock a lot of their punch out. Okay, so we have 23 attacks with the buff from the War Chanter. They're hitting on a 3. Take these and wounding on a 3. So some pretty decent rolling, so that's going to be 10 wounds.
Alright, so I lost these 10 guys, and I removed them so that I could pile in better with that unit of 10 and make sure I get all 20 attacks, because they receive a buff just being within 12 inches of my Blood Secretor. So my Blood Reavers are going to get 19 attacks. I wasn't able to pile in with one of them, but the rest will get to attack. I've given them the meat tipper axes, so they're re-rolling 1s. They're going to hit on 3s because they have a +1 to hit this turn, and we'll see what happens. Re-roll these guys. So we only missed 3 attacks. I'll roll these. Hopefully we get some 4s. So we missed a total of 9 attacks. That means Brian has 10 attacks to see.
The Ard Boys save on a 4+, with no rend. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 do not save. But they have, half of them have shields, so they get another 6 up save if possible, which none of them do. So that's 5 wounds. The Ard Boys have 2 wounds each. So we'll take the drummer first, because he's useless now.
It has to be guys with the shield, right? Because you use the shields?
Yeah, so
yeah, because he used the shield to block, he needs to allocate those wounds.
Right, but only 2 of which are actually modeled as shields. I'm trying to remember which one's the other one. So the banner has a shield, the drummer has a shield, and 1 more regular swinger has a shield.
Okay.
So we'll take out the drummer. We'll take out 1 regular guy, just to alleviate confusion, and then we'll put 1 more on a regular dude with shield.
Great. All right. And
that's the end of the turn.
That's the end of the turn. All right, so because me and Brian both had inspiring presence on the units that lost men, neither of us have to take battle shock tests. So now it's going to be a roll-off to see who goes next.
I get 3.
Looks like Brian gets to go next.
So the marvelous Ironjawz double turn, hero phase. So with the War Chanter, is he in range?
Don't think he's with. It's 8 inches,
yes,
right?
It's 10 inches.
Oh, okay.
So the War Chanter will give them inspiring presence again, as well as the +1 to hit for his War Chanter ability. And let's see how far people can move. The War Chanter for Rampaging Destroyers gets to move 3 inches, and the Boars will get to move 3 inches. Okay, so with the 4 rolls for the Rampaging Destroyers this turn, the War Chanter moved 3 inches that way to give the Ard Boys an easier +1, and the Boars shuffled slowly along, trying to outflank again. So now we'll do movement phase. I'm just going to keep the War Chanter in this general vicinity, and the Boars, I'm not sure where I'm going to end up moving them. Let's find out. Okay, so the Boars finally decided to get a move on. They must have smelled a fight. I rolled a 6 for the run, so they went 15 inches from here all the way to here, putting me in a much better position to outflank and get his hero. And as stated, the War Chanter just kind of stayed in that general vicinity. The Boars ran, so there's not going to be any charges this turn, so let's go straight to combat. Alright, so we were able to pile in all the boys, which means we get 25 attacks, hitting on 3s because of, again, the War Chanter buff. Okay. Wounding on 3s. So that's going to be 9 wounds for the Reavers, which means 9 more models gone.
So at this point, I've lost everybody in that unit except for one man, and he's going to strike back. He gets to roll 3 dice, re-rolling 1s, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, 2 wounds, and Brian's going to save on a 4-up. What? 1 model dies.
No, maybe.
Does
Yep,
he?
1 model dies. The shield didn't help him. So
Alright.
we'll take the one with the wound.
Wow, that guy actually did something. Alright. Now it's my turn. So for my hero phase, I'm going to give these guys the +1 to hit now from Lord of War. I'm going to give both of them Inspiring Presence, and he's going to put down his banner giving every unit within 18 inches immunity to battle shock and +1 attacks. First off, these guys are going to move 5 inches in this direction, being very careful to stay 3 inches away from Brian's models. This guy is going to make a retreat roll, or a retreat move. He's going to move 8 inches, and I'm going to move him out this way. Just 3 inches away from his model. Now we're going to go to charging. These guys are going to charge, and they have a 4, which means they can move 4 inches. And one of them has to be within half an inch of Brian's models. Alright, now I'm going to do my pile-in. This guy's going to move in 3 inches. This guy's going to move in 3 inches. Here, let me know when. All 10 of my Blood Warriors are now able to attack. That's going to be 9 times 3, 27 attacks. And we're going to be hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, and wounding on 4s. Ready? Rolling for the double axes. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. Alright. So 2 misses. Oh no, 1 miss. 1 miss. Alright, now we're wounding on 4s. Alright, really good roll here. 5, 10, 16 wounds.
So we'll take away this shield and this shield and these 2 guys as well.
Oh, we still have the last guy to attack with too.
And this guy will have 1 wound on him.
Alright, and now for the final blow from the Blood Warriors. The Bloodglaive has 4 attacks and hits on a 2 and wounds on a 3 right now. 1 miss. All 3 hit, -1 rend, so he has to save on a 5. He makes 1 save, so that's 2 damage apiece.
So it's 4 damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright. That's that.
I have 1 guy left. Fortunately, it's the boss. That means the boss had double choppas, so that's 4 attacks total. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The boss has just +1 to hit. So he's got 3 attacks hitting on 3s. Wounding on 3s. So that's 2 more wounds, no rend.
Alright, and I save on a 4-up. 1 save, 1. How much damage per wound?
Just 1 each.
1 each. We'll give this guy right out here a wound. Alright. That's that.
That's the turn.
Alright, now we're gonna roll off to see who has the initiative in the next battle round. It looks like I've got it.
Yep.
I'm going to attack the, what are they called again?
Hard boys.
I'm going to attack the hard boys with my blood warriors. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. All hit. Now for wounds on a 4-up, I think I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 wounds, and then for the big guy, just for the overkill, hitting on a 2-up, wounding on a 3, 2 wounds for the big guy. You want to separate those.
Yep. The yard boy, a big boss, has 1 wound left, 12 rolls on a 4+. Nigh impossible. There's 1 wound, so he's dead.
He's dead. Goodbye. Poor guy.
So the Gorgruntas, this guy was weird enough to charge them. I don't know what he think he was going to accomplish, but we'll pile in a little bit. It's tricky with the big base models. You don't want to move more than 3 inches. So I don't even think that this guy's going to be within range there. Needs an inch.
He's there.
He's there. All right. So we got 2 guys that can attack. This is the boss. Gets an extra attack. So the pig iron choppers. That's 4 for the boss and 3 for the regular. Hitting on a 3. Ouch. Wounding on a 3. So that's 3 wounds and a -1 rends. Well, he's dead.
He's dead. He has no save. So, Brian, next turn will either have to make a retreat or pile into my blood warriors and take some damage because he is still within 3 inches after attacking my blood reaver. So now we're going to move to Brian's turn.
Alright, so Ironjawz hero phase. Now the rampaging destroyers, the destruction move, works as if it was the movement phase. So I can't use that to move these guys unless I move them in a retreat move out of combat. And at this point, I don't really see... There's only one reason to do that, is if I still want to flank and get the Blood Secretor. Unfortunately, I think his Blood Reavers move too fast for me to make that happen. But you know what? We might as well try it. So the War Chanter will give them Inspiring Presence and +1 to hit. And let's do some Rampaging Destroyers. The War Chanter himself will move 2 + 2, 4 inches. And the Gorgruntas will move, there you go, 7 inches in the hero phase. So let me get that done, we'll be right back.
Go ahead.
So I was reminded that this is actually the board edge, so I didn't have as much room to play around as I thought, but I'm still going for it. So I'm going to try and sneak around this way with a double move. So the War Chanter, his movement phase, I'm going to run him. He's going to go quite a bit. So that's 10 inches he can move. So I might as well just move him right up into the trees. And let's see where the boars can go. They're removed. Now we can't charge because we retreated, so we might as well keep going with it. So 5 + 9s, that they move 14 inches this turn, which I think will safely put them out of threat range. Maybe.
That's tough. I could make a good roll.
So 14. Take Lich.
That one's like, this is the first one I actually think. Yeah.
Well, you could also win the dice roll, right?
Yeah, theoretically.
I was gonna say, this is the agent.
So then you would be able to.
Okay, and that essentially wraps up the Ironjawz turn.
All right. So we're gonna roll off again to see who has priority. And it looks like Brian did it. He's gonna be able to charge my Blood Secretor.
So, Ironjawz hero phase. I think I outdid myself here. Yeah, so the War Chanter is out of range. I can't even give these guys Inspiring Presence. So the Rampaging Destroyers, the extra D6-inch movement in the hero phase, only works if that unit is within 6 inches of the general. And since they were not when I first rolled the dice, these guys don't get to move the extra D6 inches. But in effect, I don't think that's going to have any effect on the game right now.
No, it won't.
So essentially, hero phase is done, and nobody got anything because of out of the range. There's no point in giving himself the +1 to hit. So we're going to movement phase. So the boars do get a 9-inch movement. So let's see if we can't move them a little more strategically. Still outside of 3 inches. And then
Stop laughing, Marcel. Well, I guess
himself,
that should have been my.
let's move 4 inches this way. And then we'll go into the charge. The boars, they roll a 7-inch charge, so that's more than enough to get to the Bloodsecrator. And it's important that I get the Bloodsecrator because he's giving everybody extra attacks at the moment. So if I can take him out, which is going to be a tall order for the Gorgruntas, but if I can take him out, the return fire will be a lot less.
Are you piling in?
Well, I already am.
You're close enough. You're good. Okay, so you're just gonna make your attacks.
So hitting on a 3, that was a very poor roll.
Woohoo!
That is not going to be enough. That is not going to do it. All right, so wounding on a 3. Ouch. So that's 2 wounds with a -1 rend on
All right.
Bloodsecrator.
Bloodsecrator has a 3-up save, turning it into a 4-up, and he saves 1. He takes how many wounds?
1 wound each.
So he takes 1 wound. He's got a total of 5.
So then we do the trample attacks from the boars themselves.
Okay. Was that all their weapons?
Well, they only have 2 different attacks. They have the pig iron choppas, and then they have the trample.
Oh, okay.
So the trample is hitting on a 4.
And that was a
little bit better.
really good roll for a 4. That's a 50% chance, and you.
And
just,
then they're
like,
wounding on a 4. So
It's possible to kill him, but it's unlikely. So here, I'm gonna roll, and I save.
no, they don't have any rend, so 3 save.
I saved all but 1. So he goes down to 2 wounds. He's still alive.
So
He's,
now
he gets
you-
to attack back.
Now you see how disappointing Gorgruntas are.
I'm so scared. No, I'm not. Now it's my turn to attack back with my Bloodsecrator. He's gonna get 5 attacks because he's buffing himself with his Portal of Skulls. He hits on 3s and wounds on 3s. So let's see what happens. Alright, I hit all but 1. Wounds. Only 1 wound. It is 1 damage at -1 rend.
So the boars will save on a 5+, and they save it.
Alright, so in my hero phase, he is going to use his Lord of War ability on these guys, and they are going to get +1 to hit. I guess he'll use his crown to give himself Inspiring Presence as well as my Blood Warriors, which is totally unnecessary. He's going to put down his banner again, make the Portal of Skulls open up, and these guys are going to make a 5-inch move. Alright, so we're hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. So we missed 2, and we're wounding on 3s. 2 wounds, -1 rend.
1 saved.
All right, 1 save. You can take 1 wound, so he's down to 1. All right, now Brian, you get to make your plays.
So this is a Age of Sigmar dilemma. If I kill the Bloodsecrator, which is no guarantee with the Gorgruntas, his ability, the banner that he puts down, is still in effect until his next hero phase. So at this point, there's no point in killing the Bloodsecrator. I have to try and take out as many Blood Warriors as I can so that they don't hit back as hard. So, go disappointment.
So how are you going to allocate them towards him or the Blood Warriors?
No, these are all going to be towards the Blood Warriors.
All right.
So the Pig Iron Choppas hitting on 3s.
Not a disappointing roll.
Wounding on 3s.
reasonable.
Okay, so that's 5 wounds with a -1 rend.
All right, so I have to roll 5 or better. And I make 1. All right, so 2 of my blood warriors. I'm just gonna pick these 2 over here because the banner is really pretty irrelevant considering my blood secretor's up. And I'm gonna pile in an attack. So again, they're hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, and wounding on a 4. So that's all hit. And then I'm gonna 4. So we're looking for 4. So we got 4 wounds. No rend.
So saving on a 4. That's 2 saved, 2 did not. So that is 1 dead boar.
Alright, these guys are dead. So is it.
And this boar will have 1 wound on him.
Alright.
And then we do the trample.
Oh wait, we should have done it all. This guy still continues attacking.
Okay, so 4 attacks. 4 times 3. Hitting on a 4. Wounding on a 4.
Good rolls.
So 4 wounds, no rend.
Alright, so I have to roll a 4 up. And I make 3 out of 4, so 1 wound on this poor fella here. Alright, now I'm gonna pile in an attack with my blood warriors. I've piled in with my blood warriors, and now I'm gonna begin the attack. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6 guys attacking with their double axes. Wounding, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1, all hit. Wounding on a 4. 50% of them hit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Any rend?
No rend.
Okay, so saving on a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not saved. They're 1 damage each.
Yeah, they're 1 damage each. So don't do anything yet because the big guy's gonna attack now. All right, so we got 6 wounds. So the big guy's hitting on a 2. Wow. And wounding on a 3. Nothing.
Nice.
All right, so
6 wounds. So that's 4. And the boar boss has 2 wounds left. 2 wounds on him. So 3 wounds left.
all right.
And that's the end of that turn.
That's the end of battle round 3.
So that was the end of battle round 3. I did actually roll battle shock for the boars. They got a 5. Their bravery is 7. They lost 2 models, so even up, they were fine. So now we roll off for turn 4. Yep, I'm going first. So for rampaging destroyers, we're going to move the war chanter up a little bit, and he's going to move 5 inches.
Yeah, keep making just make sure he's 3 inches away. Yeah.
It's not going to help too much. And then that puts him within 10 inches of him, so he will give the boar the +1 to hit. And well, actually, no, he's going to give himself the +1 to hit, and he also has the battle brew, so that should make him hit on a 2, which is going to be helpful. So movement phase, we can't move the boars, but we can move the war chanter another 4 inches just to make charging a little bit easier. And then we're going to charge the war chanter into the blood secretor, try and take that out, which he makes it easily enough. So I'm actually going to start combat with the war chanter first. He gets 4 attacks, now hitting on a 2 because of battle brew and his own buff. On a 6 he gets an extra attack, so that is 1 extra attack. That is. Are we doing a roll of 1 or no?
Just keep going. You got a 6, so.
All right, it didn't hit anyway.
I'll give it to you. You got another 6, right? Like that was kind of cool.
So wounding on a 3. So that is 3 wounds with no rend on the blood secretor.
All right, let's do it. We're saving on a 3 up. He's probably gonna live. He takes 1 wound, slowly dying. All right, So he is somewhat injured. Now I get to make a pile in and attack back. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attack his boar with the Blood Secretor. I think it's actually better to do that simply because, if he kills my Blood Secretor, I'll be able to pile in better. In addition, all my guys already have the buff from the Blood Secretor, and in addition to that, even if the Blood Secretor kills the boar, I can still pile in on the War Chanter over here. So let's attack with the Blood Secretor.
Not looking good for the orcs.
Hitting on 3s, miss 1. Wounding on 3s, hit 3. -1 rend.
So saving on a 5, and of course they.
It's a 1.
Of course it is. Didn't save any, so that is the final wound in the boar's straw.
All right. Now that Brian has no more units to attack with, I'm going to go ahead and make a pile-in with my Blood Warriors. Alright, so I was able to pile in and get 4 of my double axe guys within range, and my big Bloodglaive, who hasn't done as much damage as I thought he would do this game. So we're going to roll hitting on 2s, wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s on the hit. Probably going to make all of the hits. Missed 1. Wounding on 4. Good news for Brian. Probability was not in my favor. Now we're gonna roll for the big guy. Wounding on a 2. All hit. Or sorry, hitting on a 2. Wounding on a 3. Yeah, that sucks. So 3 wounds with the big guy, -1 rend. 4 wounds with the little guys. No rend. Right.
Alright, so the War Chanter is saving on a 4-up.
Yeah, for the first 4.
So 3 saved.
Wow.
1 did not. That's 1 damage.
Yep. And then the other he's got to save 6 damage now.
Is it a rend?
Yep, one.
So saving on a 5.
Critical fail.
So 6 damage, and the War Chanter, I think he only has 6 wounds. Yep, he only has 6 wounds.
That's actually more than I thought he would have.
That is a dead Ironjawz army.
I really thought that I was going to lose that game after I lost my Blood Reavers. My Blood Reaver captain put about 5 damage into Brian's infantry unit, and I was really surprised by that. I was also surprised that my Blood Reavers didn't get wiped out on the first attack. Of course, I thought that Brian's infantry was a lot more powerful than it was. I was also surprised that his Gorgruntas didn't kill my Blood Secretor, because had they done that, they would have stood a much better chance against my Blood Warriors. The Blood Warriors were insane. I think that the Lord of War ability really helps them out because they almost never miss, given that they re-roll failed hits and they hit on 2s. You really just have to worry about the wound rolls, and as you saw, it's about a 50-50 chance to succeed, and if they're attacking 3 times a piece, you're going to hit at least 10 wounds per attack. So they're pretty good. Much better than I thought.
So, if you've played orcs before in just about any other game, you know orcs are used to losing. And you can see why. The Ironjawz look great. They look intimidating. Everybody overestimates their performance. I can tell you from quite a bit of experience, it takes a very strong general and a very strong list to make Ironjawz even semi-okay. To this game, I would say the MVPs were definitely Josh's Blood Warriors. I don't have anything in my army to compete with that, unless I took twice the number of guys that I did. Gorgruntas, you can see how disappointing they are in actuality. They work a little bit better in units of 6, but as with all cavalry in Age of Sigmar, you have to be very careful how you use them. Ardboys do perform very well for what they are. They are a very good tar pit. best taken in groups of 20 with the double choppas, because more attacks is always going to be better than rend. This game went about as well as I could have expected, maybe a little bit poorer, but we're only working with the start collecting box, there's not much to it. So research the Ironjawz, get a little bit of better units if you're going to start this army.